Hi guys, welcome to April Dispatches, and what you see before you is a modest little selection of our latest releases for this month. One of the reasons it is maybe quite so modest is that we've been working on several major projects over the last 6 months that you'll start to see come to fruition in another couple of months. You have seen the beginnings of the Streets of Ancient Rome, but there's another major series that will be coming out, I hope, in June, July. That's something very different from what we've done before, but really very exciting. What I can tell you is that it's, I believe, some of the very finest King Country figures that we've ever designed or sculpted, and I hope you'll agree when you see them. However, that's a wee bit in the future. Let's talk about what's happening today. So we'll begin with what we're calling our Right Royal Regimentals, and that's this little group of figures down here. And we're beginning with two mounted figures from the cavalry regiment known as the Blues and Royals, which is one of the two household cavalry regiments of the British Army that are tasked with all our forces are tasked with defending the King or Queen. But in this case, they're the ones that you see in ceremonial and state occasions on horseback in the company of the monarch. And the two figures that we've chosen from the Blues and Royals, the first one is the colonel of the regiment. And in this case, it's a female. And that female is Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, and someone that throughout her life has been a very keen horsewoman, much like her mother was, to such an extent that she represented Great Britain in the Olympics and also in major European horsewomen events. She was appointed Colonel of the Blues and Royals several years ago, and she often appears in the uniform of a colonel, the dress uniform of a colonel, on major parades such as Trooping the Colour. So the figure that we have here is her on horseback, saluting to the front, wearing the full dress uniform of a colonel. Now, one of the reasons I did this figure is in my own personal collection, I love lots of parade figures, and I'm a great fan of our fellow competitor, William Britton's, who produced many fine regimental figures over the years, and I've got quite a few of them in my own collection. And they did produce a figure of Princess Royal on horseback several years back, and I was trying to find this figure forever. And once we started our own ceremonial range, after I found that I couldn't find the one I was looking from William Britton's, I decided that we would make our own, and this is the one that we've done. So, as you see, she's right here. Right next to her is another, which I think, fine mounted figure, and it's one of the two drum horses of the Blues and Royals. Now, each of the two household cavalry regiments, you've got the Blues and Royals and you've got the Life Guards, and each of them has two drum horses. And these drum horses are a very special breed that actually brings together Shire and Clydesdale heavy horse breeds. And the horses that are selected for this important position on parade are taken from those breeds. And it's been a tradition, certainly throughout the reign of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and King Charles, that these horses are given classical names like Hector, Spartacus, Mercury, of that ilk. Well, this one here, we've christened Horatius, a very good classical name, and he's striding powerfully forward with his rider stroke drummer on the back and handler, and that's also coming out this month. Now, in front of these guys, or the two Blues and Royals figures, are three Coldstream Guards figures. Now, these are what they call company markers, and these are the soldiers that go on parade actually prior to the arrival of the parade, the Horse Guards parade of when Trooping the Colour takes place. And these men march off onto the parade ground, and they will stand in certain positions with a company flag. Now, the company flag will be a design that's specific for one of the companies that will be on parade on that particular day. And normally there are at least 7 companies of guardsmen on parade, and each of those companies will have its own little distinctive pennant or flag. So we've got a standing at attention corporal, we've got a marching corporal with a different flag over his shoulder, and we've got a lance sergeant, a marching lance sergeant. Now, lance sergeant is a rank that's peculiar to the Brigade of Guards. It's really a kind of senior corporal before you get to the rank of sergeant. However, a sergeant in the Guards, the chevrons on their dress tunics are usually gold in colour. A lance sergeant has 3 chevrons similar to a sergeant, but his are in white on the red tunic on the right arm. And also, being not a full sergeant, he does not have the red sash going across the chest. So these 3 figures are available. We'll move on from our ceremonials to another little collection down here. And this is from our Hong Kong All Our Yesterdays series, depicting Hong Kong in the 1960s, 1970s. Now, a very familiar sight on any Hong Kong street back then, and even now, is little what they call delivery coolies. And these are casual workers who have little wheelbarrows almost, or a cart, in fact, little metal cart that carry all kinds of goods. And obviously you saw a lot more of them in the old days, but even today you still see them on virtually many streets in Hong Kong. So we've got the delivery coolie, and he's pushing a cart with some general packages. You've also got a vegetable coolie, and this is someone that would work at some of the street markets where fresh produce is sold, and he would be delivering it to the market, or maybe delivering it from the market to one of their customers. Also here we have another little set, which is a waiting coolie. Now again, because these were casual labourers, sometimes they would be employed by companies, or sometimes they were self-employed. So if you wanted something moved from point A to point B in Hong Kong, you just went along to almost any street corner, and there'd be some of these guys sitting with their own little cart waiting for hire, and you could just say, oh, I need this delivered to here, here's the address, you agree on the price, and off it would go. So this guy's waiting patiently for someone to come along and employ him and his cart. We're also selling the little carts themselves as a pair of that again would enhance any street scene. Part of any street scene, again, not only today but yesterday, is people carrying bird cages. Because Hong Kong is a very crowded place and accommodations are often very small, it's sometimes difficult to keep a pet. But one of the most popular pets that are kept are caged birds. Obviously they've got beautiful singing voices, and the people that have them treat them with great care and respect. And one of the things that's noticeable is they often take them for a walk early in the morning when it's cooler, or maybe later in the evening towards sunset, when again it's cooler and away from the heat of a typical Hong Kong summer's day. So we have a gentleman here with the bird cage. Now, we don't know whether it's in the morning or the evening, but anyway, he's enjoying a stroll with his pet bird in the cage, and probably enjoying the song from the bird. We move from there back here, and again, we're a little bit of ceremonial. We've moved from Hong Kong to Denmark, and Copenhagen in particular, and you will see the little guard box that we released several months back. Well, we originally intended to have a soldier that would be on guard duty with the guard box. Unfortunately, that project was delayed a little bit, but finally the soldier is here, and he's a member of the Danish Royal Life Guards. And this is the guard unit, ceremonial guard unit, that parades virtually every day in Copenhagen, from their barracks in the centre of Copenhagen to Amalienborg Palace, which is the official residence of the Danish monarch. Normally they appear in a blue ceremonial uniform with cross white belts and of course the tall bearskin, similar to the guards that you would see in London. Another feature of the Danish Royal Life Guards is they've got a peculiar way of standing at attention, or sometimes even marching, where the rifle is held between the folded arms across the chest. I've never seen this any other place except in Copenhagen, and obviously it's something that we've not represented so far in our Danish Life Guard collection, so we thought we've got to do it to go with the guard box. So here it is now. Again, you can buy the guard box, as you probably know, on its own, or you might choose to buy it along with the guardsman. But anyway, he's available this month. Finally, right at the back here, we've got a little added group of fighting Apaches. Over the years, we've produced quite a few Apache Indians to go for a Real West series, and we'd retired some not so long ago and decided we have to bring some replacements. And after talking to a few dealers and collectors, what they requested was give us more fighting Apaches in typical ambush position. The Apaches fought one of the best or worst, however you want to describe it, guerrilla campaigns against the US Army well into the 1880s. And that's what we've depicted. They were famous for being able to appear out of nowhere and disappear just as quickly. It seemed almost magical, the skills that they had in camouflage, in movement, and also they were very accurate marksmen. So if you come up against, there might not be many of them, but if you came up against them, you knew that you were in deep trouble. So we've got 4 fighting figures. We've got one lying prone firing a carbine. We've got another guy crouching and moving forward with the classic Winchester carbine. We've got a kneeling ready Apache. He's also carrying the carbine. And finally, a standing firing carbine. Got him there. So all of these ones will be out this month. Not a huge amount. As I say, we're working on several major projects that you will see over the next few months, and I hope you'll like those as much as you may like these. But in the meantime, enjoy these, and I'll see you next month. But before I go, you might notice this print in the background here. This is actually painted by one of my favourite aviation artists, Robert Taylor. Robert Taylor was an English artist who specialised in aviation scenes. He was also very good at painting seas and warships. And this was it was actually created as a poster for the Allied victory in the Pacific, and it was the 50th anniversary. I believe it was actually produced for the Admiral Nimitz Museum in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is now known as the National Museum of the Pacific War. Fabulous museum. I've been there many, many times and recommend it. If you ever get down to Texas, it's only about 1 hour's drive from San Antonio. Wonderful museum. Pay a visit. And Robert Taylor sadly passed away, I think just a few months ago. Very, very sad. He was a superb artist. I've actually got quite a few prints of his, and I'll be showing those maybe as a background like this over the next few months also. This particular print was bought from a good friend of mine in the States, Chris Monroe, who some of you might remember ran the Toy Soldier Gallery, long missed and much lamented, in Cambria, California. And Chris used to be a dealer for Robert Taylor, and I believe actually he met him on several occasions. So anyway, enjoy the print, enjoy the figures, and as I said, I'll see you next month. Cheers.